Hey everybody, Jake here. Welcome back to Movie Smoothie, where today we're doing a little bit of an update on Spider-Man Freshman Year, a very mysterious animated series coming to Disney Plus sometime soon. And we have a bit of an update on it, but before we get into that though, of course, if you guys can like this video and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. So, Marvel Studios' head of streaming, Brad Winderbaum, has recently confirmed that Spider-Man Freshman Year will not take place on Earth 616 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was something which, the first thing I gotta say is, oh, thank God. Thank God that this is not the case, because none of that would have made sense. There is so much stuff that happens, apparently, before our Peter Parker makes it to the MCU that just wouldn't make any sense. Like, there's no MJ, there's no Ned, there's no Gwen. Like, what is going on there? If you're not going to explore his early days, actually do his establishment story, what are you doing with this franchise? Like, I have no idea what the hell this series would be about otherwise. Now, I personally think if they would have just made an entire Disney Plus show with Tom Holland or some kind of like background on how his like origin was, how he became Spider-Man, I just feel like that would be so pointless. That would be beyond pointless. I would not want to see that. One of the coolest things about Spider-Man Homecoming to me was the fact that they just skipped over the origin story. I talked about that in my Fantastic Four video from earlier. You can check that out, by the way, in this little card that is popping above at the very top of the video right now, which is kind of sick. You might want to check that one out, because I also kind of go on a rant about how I really liked Spider-Man Homecoming for just skipping over the origin story. Everyone knows that Peter Parker gets bit by a radioactive spider. It's been parodied in like a million different things. If it's The Simpsons, if it's like the Toxic Avenger, oddly enough, sure, whatever. I mean, he's not bit by a radioactive spider, but he basically gets a bunch of nuclear waste all over him, and now he has superpowers. So it's like, it's the same kind of idea. We know that about Spider-Man at this point. So let's just get past that. Let's move past that to do something else. I wouldn't want a Disney Plus series that goes into his backstory. What new thing are you going to do with that? But this Disney Plus animated series that they're doing might actually answer the question in a brand new way, which is really interesting. So Winderbaum also goes on to explain this in an interview with comicbook.com, talking about how the upcoming Disney Plus animated series fits into the established MCU timeline with the multiverse. He says, well, like we said, in the San Diego Comic-Con panel, it follows the pattern that you see in Captain America Civil War. Down to Peter getting the broken Blu-ray player from the trash, and he walks into his department for the famous moment where Tony Stark is waiting for him to offer him the Stark internship and take him to Berlin. But because of things that happen in the multiverse, because of new random occurrences, it's not Tony Stark who's waiting for him there. It's Norman Osborn, and that sends his life in an unexpected trajectory, can't say that word, that collides him with many unexpected characters in the Marvel Universe. Now, that is very exciting. Basically just sounds like a really long episode of What If, but regardless, exciting. I would totally be down to watch that. I really am intrigued by the concept of What If. I have not seen all of it, but from what I have seen, I really enjoyed it. I love the whole idea of like just taking things down different multiverses, different timelines, if this thing would have happened instead. That's so cool to me, just because of the fact that like multiverse has always been a factor in these Marvel comics. So to really bring that not only into the forefront of like the main story, but all the side stuff, that's so cool. That's why I think I love What If probably the most out of all these shows, conceptually at least. That's what's just something that I've always found very impressive. And that the fact that this animated series is going to be doing that, while also celebrating the character's early comic book roots with the animation style. I just feel like there's so many positives here. That is so cool to me. I love all of this. It's basically going to answer the question of what if Norman Osborn mentored Peter Parker instead of Tony Stark. I'm super excited to check this out. And also, if you want to hear me talk a little more about the new heroes, allies, villains, yada, 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 basically everything that is going to be going on in this new multiverse version of the Peter Parker origin story in the MCU, you can check out my video once again up here, little card for it on the top of the page. Make sure to check out that video. It seems like this is going to be something really different. We're also going to be featuring the Runaways, which I think is really, really weird and really different how they're going to do that. Doctor Strange is still going to appear too. There's a bunch of crazy stuff. Charlie Cox voicing Daredevil. Dude, it gets nuts. You're gonna want to check out that video. So I'm excited for it regardless. Even if we don't have Tom Holland voicing Spider-Man, which is a little weird, but also he's kind of a hot commodity right now. So it's understandable, but also at the same time, you can also argue, well, doesn't Marvel have like billions of dollars? Why don't they just throw that at Tom Holland to do this? Great question. I don't know if this was coming from like a smaller studio, okay, but like dude, this is Disney we're talking about, baby. They're like they are actually kind of a monopoly. So I don't know what to tell you there. So hopefully this is good. I love Spider-Man, one of my all-time favorite superheroes. I'm very excited to see what they do with the show. But what do you guys think about Spider-Man freshman year? Leave me something about it in the comments. If we know anything about animated Spider-Man stuff, we know this is probably going to be good, considering the track record. So I hope it's good. I'm very excited for it. Leave me something about it in the comments. Thanks for watching this little update on Spider-Man freshman year. I am so excited to watch this thing on Disney Plus in 2024. But until then, we get to do little updates on it, which is fun, which is nice. I love it. So make sure to subscribe to Movie Smoothie as well and enjoy a smoothie with all your Disney Plus streaming shows.